So you think you know the story of Lego, right? You know, the colorful brick that built this massive global empire. But what if I told you the story you know, the one about simple, happy success, isn't the whole story? Not even close. The real story is one of constant disaster, near-fatal mistakes, and honestly, incredible resilience.
Yeah, you heard that right. It's kind of hard to believe, but the brand that's all about careful construction and stability has this secret history of just chaos. Before Lego became the powerhouse it is today, it was this small company that seemed like it was cursed by fire and failure. And this isn't just some bump in the road. It's a core part of who they are.
Today, Lego is an absolute titan. We're talking the largest toy manufacturer in the world, with a valuation of over $9 billion. It's not just a name you know, it's a cultural icon.
But let's rewind a bit, back to 2003. The picture was, well, it was the complete opposite. The company was $800 million in debt and just bleeding cash. They were literally months away from total collapse. So how on earth did they go from the edge of bankruptcy to global domination? Now that's the real story.
Okay, so where does this all begin? It starts with one guy, Ole Kirk Christensen. And no, he wasn't some big-shot toy maker. He was a simple carpenter from Billund, Denmark. And from the very beginning, his business was just plagued by catastrophe. So get this, in 1924, his entire workshop, his livelihood, burned to the ground because his young sons were playing with matches. He rebuilt. Then bam, the Great Depression hits. Nobody's buying ladders or ironing boards anymore. So he notices that parents would still scrape together money for small gifts for their kids, and he adapts. He starts making these little wooden toys from leftover wood scraps. This wasn't some stroke of genius, this was pure survival. But here's the thing, even in survival mode, Ole was obsessed with quality. He actually painted this motto on his workshop walls. In Danish, it's "De beste er ikke forgot." He was the kind of guy who would insist on using 3 coats of varnish on his wooden ducks when everyone else was just using 1. This absolute commitment to excellence, even when it cost him money he totally didn't have, became the bedrock of the entire company. All right, so as the company starts to get its footing, 2 key decisions come along that would change, well, everything. One gave the company its soul, and the other was a massive, massive gamble that almost everyone thought was completely insane. In 1934, Ole needed a name. He came up with Lego, which is a mashup of the Danish words leg godt, which means play well. And what's just incredible is that he had no idea that in Latin, Lego means I put together. It was a total coincidence. Or maybe it was destiny, right? Kind of foreshadowing the whole interlocking brick thing that would define their future. So after World War II, wood was super scarce. Ole sees this new technology from England, a plastic injection molding machine. He then spent more than twice his company's entire profit from the year before to buy one. To everyone around him, this was a disaster waiting to happen. Plastic was seen as cheap, flimsy junk for toys. And you know what? The market agreed with the critics. Retailers started sending the first plastic toys back, saying they wouldn't sell. All the data was screaming, stop, but Ole saw something nobody else did, the potential for a system of play. He just ignored everyone and pushed forward, which really shows you that sometimes vision means telling all the evidence to take a hike.
Okay, but there was one pretty big problem. The first plastic bricks, they were hollow. So yeah, you could stack them, but they didn't lock together at all. You'd build a tower, and the slightest little nudge would send the whole thing crumbling down. The toys were frustrating, and that core idea of a system just wasn't working.
And then, the breakthrough. In 1958, Ole's son, Godfred, has this simple but absolutely revolutionary idea. He adds tubes to the underside of the brick. This created what they called clutch power. All of a sudden, the bricks clicked together firmly, but you could still pull them apart. With that one little innovation, the Lego system was truly born. And get this, every single brick made since 1958 is compatible with every brick made today. That was their secret weapon.
So that patent basically gave Lego an undisputed monopoly for decades. It was great. But you know how these things go. Fast forward about 40 years, those patents expire, and almost overnight, the company that had built an empire found itself standing right on the edge of a cliff. The fall was fast and it was hard. All of a sudden, cheaper clones were flooding the market, and at the same time, a new competitor showed up that Lego had no answer for: video games. Kids were trading in their bricks for controllers, and Lego, well, they started to panic.
And what happens when a company panics? They lose their way. Big time. We're talking Lego-branded jewelry, Lego clothes, and these really complex electronic toys with pieces that didn't even fit into the main system. By trying to be everything to everyone, they became nothing to anyone. So by 2003, with the company drowning in that $800 million debt, consultants were telling them to just sell out to their rival Mattel. But instead, they brought in a new CEO, a young former consultant named Jürgen Vig Knudstorp, who did something pretty radical. He decided to listen.
This one sentence changed everything. Knudstorp's message was this brutal, clarifying return to their roots. He argued that all their problems came from one thing. They forgot about their core product. The solution wasn't to go chase a bunch of new trends, but to double down on the simple plastic brick.
The whole turnaround was built on a really simple four-part plan. First, they simplified, radically. They slashed the number of unique brick types in half to cut costs. Second, they refocused, selling off distractions like the theme parks. Third, and this was huge, they started listening to their most passionate users, the adult fans of Lego, who were already making the complex, amazing models the company had given up on. And finally, they realized kids didn't just want bricks, they wanted to build the worlds from their favorite stories, which led to massive partnerships like Star Wars.
And you know what? This whole back to the brick strategy didn't just save the company. It completely transformed it from just a toy maker into a modern media empire, all built on that same simple interlocking plastic rectangle.
I mean, think about the Lego movie. What a masterstroke, right? It was this hilarious, heartwarming story that was also, let's be honest, the most effective advertisement in history. It celebrated the creativity and the joy of the product itself, and it turned marketing into a blockbuster event people actually lined up and paid for.
And by finally embracing their adult fans, Lego tapped into this global network of creators. They launched things like Lego Ideas, where fan designs could be voted on and turned into real sets. This model effectively turned their most dedicated customers into their most passionate, authentic, and frankly, effective marketing department. So from a smoldering workshop to the absolute brink of bankruptcy and back again, the Lego story is just this powerful lesson in resilience and focus. It really shows you what can happen when you remember who you are. And it leaves us with one final question to chew on. Which childhood toy do you think deserves a comeback?